90% of the things you worry about never happen. A study from Penn State University found that 97% of what people worry about is either exaggerated or completely made up by the mind. Let that sink in. Your brain, the organ you trust to keep you alive, is lying to you almost every single day. And it is costing you your peace, your sleep, your relationships, and even years off your life. But here's the good news. Mental balance is not something you are born with. It is a skill. It can be trained like a muscle. And today, I'm going to give you the full course, step by step, backed by real science, so you can take back control of your own mind. Stay until the end, because I will give you a simple daily schedule, a recipe for your brain that you can start tonight. Now, let us begin. So what is mental balance? It is not being happy all the time. That is a lie social media sold you. Mental balance means you can feel sad without drowning in sadness. You can feel angry without destroying things around you. You can feel fear without being frozen by it. It is the ability to experience all emotions and still function. Think of it like a boat on the ocean. The waves will always come. Mental balance does not remove the waves, it gives you the strength to stay on the boat. And science tells us this balance comes from a very specific place inside your brain. And that is exactly what we are about to break down. Because once you understand how your brain creates emotions, you will understand exactly how to control them. Your emotional life is run by two systems inside your head. The first is the amygdala, a small, almond-shaped area deep in the center of your brain. A meta-analysis published in Neuropsychology Review confirmed that the amygdala acts as a threat detector and emotional alarm system. It is fast. It reacts before you even think. The second system is the prefrontal cortex, the front part of your brain, right behind your forehead. This is where you do things like deciding whether to spend money or save it, planning your next career move, and thinking about how your words will affect someone before you speak. Research published in Nature's Neuropsychopharmacology shows the prefrontal cortex sends signals down to the amygdala to calm it. It acts like a brake on your emotional gas pedal. Mental balance is literally the relationship between these two parts of your brain. Here is how it works in real life. A 2025 paper in the Modern American Journal of Medical and Health Sciences explained that emotional regulation works through two pathways. Bottom up is when the amygdala fires first, like when you jump at a loud sound. Top down is when the prefrontal cortex overrides the amygdala, like when you stay calm during a stressful meeting at work. Mental balance is about strengthening the top-down pathway, making that brake pedal in your brain stronger and faster. And the beautiful thing is, research shows you can actually do that. You can physically change the wiring inside your head. That is called neuroplasticity, and it is the single most important word you will learn today. We are about to go deep into it. Neuroplasticity means your brain can rewire itself based on what you repeatedly do. A 2024 systematic review in the journal Biomedicines confirmed that practices like mindfulness physically increase cortical thickness and change brain connectivity. That means your brain is not fixed. It is not a rock. It is more like clay. Every time you do things like choosing to breathe deeply instead of yelling at traffic, writing in a journal instead of scrolling your phone at midnight, or sitting in silence for 5 minutes instead of filling every moment with noise, you are strengthening the neural pathways that keep you balanced. The brain you have today does not have to be the brain you have 6 months from now. And that is the foundation of everything I am about to teach you. So here is the plan. I am going to walk you through 10 major steps to build mental balance. Each one targets a different part of the system. Think of it as building a house. You need the foundation, the walls, the roof, the electrical wiring, everything working together. Step 1 starts with the thing most people ignore: And honestly, it is the one thing that will give you the fastest results. I see so many people chasing complicated solutions when the answer has been sitting right under their nose the entire time. What is it? Your breath. Yes, your breath. Let me show you exactly why and how it works inside your body. There is a nerve in your body called the vagus nerve. It runs from your brain all the way down to your gut. Research from Stanford Medicine confirmed that the vagus nerve is the primary communication highway between your brain and your digestive system. When you breathe slowly and deeply, you activate this nerve. When the vagus nerve is activated, it sends a message to your brain that says, everything is safe. Your heart rate drops, your blood pressure lowers, your amygdala, that alarm system, goes quiet. This is not meditation talk. This is biology. And the best part? You can trigger this response in less than 90 seconds. 90 seconds. That is faster than any pill, any drink, any distraction. Your breath is literally a remote control for your nervous system. Here is the exact method. It is called the 4-7-8 technique. Breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold your breath for 7 seconds. Breathe out through your mouth for 8 seconds. That is 1 round. Do 4 rounds. Why this specific pattern? The long exhale is the key. When you exhale for longer than you inhale, you shift your nervous system from the sympathetic mode, which is fight or flight, to the parasympathetic mode, which is rest and digest. Your body literally changes its chemical state. Do this when you wake up. Do this before a job interview. Do this when your partner says something that makes your blood boil. Do this when you cannot fall asleep at 2 a.m. 4 rounds. Takes less than 2 minutes. This is your first tool. Write it down. Step 2. You need to understand cortisol. Cortisol is the stress hormone. Your adrenal glands release it whenever your brain thinks you are in danger. In small doses, it is useful, like when it gives you energy to finish a deadline or helps you run faster when a dog chases you. But when cortisol stays high for too long, it destroys you from the inside. High cortisol shrinks the hippocampus, which is the memory center of your brain. It weakens your immune system. It makes you gain fat around your belly. It disrupts your sleep. And critically, it makes the amygdala more reactive. So you become more anxious, more irritable, more emotionally unstable. Chronic stress is not just uncomfortable, it is a medical condition. And the #1 way to lower cortisol? We are about to cover that right now. A 2024 meta-analysis from the University of Leeds, reviewing 58 randomized controlled trials with over 3,500 participants, found that mindfulness and meditation had a significant effect on lowering cortisol levels. The effect size was 0.345, which in science means a real, measurable difference. Not a theory, not a guess. Measured in blood, saliva, and hair. Another meta-analysis published in Health Psychology Review found that meditation interventions are especially effective for people who are already under high stress. In other words, the more stressed you are, the more meditation helps. And here is something most people do not know. You do not need to meditate for an hour. Research shows benefits begin at just 10 to 15 minutes per day. The key is consistency, not duration. Do it every single day and your cortisol levels will drop. So how do you actually meditate? Forget the incense and the sitting cross-legged stuff. Here is the simplest method that works. Sit in a chair, close your eyes, breathe normally. Put all your attention on the feeling of air going in and out of your nose. That is it. Your mind will wander. It will start thinking about what you need to buy at the grocery store, that awkward thing you said 5 years ago, or whether you locked the front door. That is normal. When you notice it, gently bring your attention back to the breath. That moment of noticing and returning, that is the exercise. That is what strengthens the prefrontal cortex. A study on medical students found that just 4 days of mindfulness meditation significantly lowered their blood cortisol from 381 to 306 nanomoles per liter. 4 days. Imagine what happens after 4 weeks or 4 months. Step 3 is sleep, and I cannot stress this enough. If you are skipping sleep to hustle, you are not grinding. You are breaking your brain. Research from UC Berkeley's Walker Lab found that sleep deprivation causes a 60% increase in amygdala reactivity to negative emotional stimuli. At the same time, the connection between your prefrontal cortex and your amygdala gets weaker. So you feel more and you can control less. That is why you snap at people when you are tired. That is why small problems feel huge at 3 a.m. That is why one bad night of sleep can make you feel like your whole life is falling apart. It is not weakness. It is your brain losing its brake pedal. Sleep does something incredible that most people never learn about. A study published in Social Cognitive and Affective Neuroscience confirmed that during sleep, the amygdala prefrontal cortex connectivity actually resets and strengthens. Your brain uses sleep to process emotions and strip the emotional charge from memories. Think of it like this. Something embarrassing happens to you at work on Monday. By Friday, you can talk about it and laugh. But if you did not sleep properly between Monday and Friday, that embarrassment stays raw. You keep reliving it as if it just happened. That is because your brain did not get the chance to process it. A 2024 paper in the Journal of Sleep Research confirmed that even one night of sleep deprivation impairs your ability to regulate emotional conflict. One night. Sleep is not a luxury. It is medicine for your emotional brain. Here are the rules for better sleep. Number 1. Go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, even on weekends. Your brain has an internal clock called the circadian rhythm. It works best when it is consistent. Number 2, stop looking at screens 1 hour before bed. The blue light from your phone tells your brain it is still daytime. That blocks melatonin, the sleep hormone. Number 3, keep your room cold and dark. Your body needs to drop its core temperature to fall asleep. Number 4, no caffeine after 2 p.m. Caffeine has a half-life of 5 to 6 hours. That means if you drink coffee at 4 p.m., by 10 p.m., half of that caffeine is still in your system, keeping your brain wired. And number 5, use the 4-7-8 breathing technique from step 1 right before you close your eyes. See how everything connects? Step 4 is movement. Exercise is the single most powerful natural antidepressant available to human beings. A 2024 review in Frontiers in Neurology found that physical exercise directly increases levels of a protein called BDNF, which stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factor. BDNF is like fertilizer for your brain cells. BDNF supports the survival of existing neurons, helps create new neurons, and strengthens the connections between them. Research published in Nature's Scientific Reports confirmed that just 15 minutes of high-intensity interval training significantly increases BDNF levels in young adults. 15 minutes! But it is not just about BDNF. Exercise also increases serotonin, the chemical that makes you feel good. It releases endorphins, which are your body's natural painkillers, and it lowers cortisol, the stress hormone we talked about. Exercise hits multiple targets at once. So what kind of exercise and how much? A 2024 dose-response meta-analysis published in Depression and Anxiety found that moderate-intensity aerobic exercise done for about 30 to 40 minutes, 3 to 4 times per week, is optimal for increasing BDNF. That means brisk walking, swimming, cycling, or jogging. You do not need to run a marathon. You do not need to lift like a bodybuilder. What matters is that your heart rate goes up, you start breathing harder, and you do it regularly, like brushing your teeth but for your brain. Think of it as a prescription, not a punishment. Research from Science Direct confirmed that exercise increases BDNF specifically in the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex, the exact areas responsible for memory and emotional regulation. You are literally upgrading the hardware of your brain every time you move. Step 5 is going to blow your mind. Your gut? Your stomach is directly connected to your brain. It is called the gut-brain axis, and it changes everything we know about mental health. A comprehensive review in the Integrative Medicine Journal explained that the gut and brain communicate through the vagus nerve, hormones, and immune signals. Your gut is not just digesting food, it is sending constant messages to your brain about how you should feel. And here is the part that shocks most people. Over 90% of your body's serotonin, the feel-good chemical, is made in your gut, not your brain. Research from Tiny Health, citing a study published in the journal Cell, confirmed that bacteria in your gut directly regulate serotonin production. Your mood starts in your stomach. Your gut contains trillions of microorganisms called the gut microbiome. A review in Frontiers in Behavioral Neuroscience confirmed that gut microorganisms can produce and deliver brain chemicals like serotonin and GABA, which act directly on the gut-brain axis. When this microbiome is healthy and diverse, your mood is stable. But when it is damaged through bad food, too much sugar, too many antibiotics, or chronic stress, your serotonin production drops. Your inflammation goes up, and you become more vulnerable to anxiety and depression. Harvard Health confirmed that when the balance between good and bad bacteria in the gut is disrupted, mood and cognitive problems can follow. So mental balance is not just a brain game, it is a whole body game, and food is your weapon. So what should you eat? Here is your gut-brain shopping list. Foods rich in tryptophan, which is the building block of serotonin. Turkey, eggs, salmon, nuts, and seeds. Foods rich in probiotics, which feed the good bacteria. Yogurt, kimchi, sauerkraut, and kefir. Foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which fight brain inflammation. Fatty fish, walnuts, and flax seeds. And equally important, what to avoid. Processed foods, refined sugars, and artificial sweeteners damage your gut microbiome. They feed the bad bacteria and starve the good ones. Every time you grab a bag of chips instead of an apple, or drink soda instead of water, or eat fast food 3 days in a row, you are not just hurting your waistline. You are sending your brain the wrong chemical signals. Eating for mental balance is one of the most underrated strategies in the world. It is not glamorous. Nobody makes viral videos about eating salmon, but it works. Step 6. Your thoughts. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. Most of your suffering is not caused by what happens to you. It is caused by the story you tell yourself about what happened. This is not just philosophy. This is neuroscience. When you replay a negative thought over and over, you are strengthening the neural pathway for that thought. It becomes easier and easier for your brain to go there, like a river that carves a deeper channel every time water flows through it. The technical term is rumination, and it is one of the biggest predictors of depression and anxiety. But the opposite is also true. When you deliberately choose different thoughts, you start carving new channels, new pathways, new defaults, and that is what Step 6 is all about. The technique is called cognitive reappraisal. Research from Oxford Academics' Social Cognitive and Affective Neuroscience journal found that successful reappraisal is directly linked to increased activity in the prefrontal cortex and decreased activity in the amygdala. In other words, when you change how you think about a situation, you literally change the chemical activity in your brain. Here is an example. You get passed over for a promotion. The automatic thought is, I am not good enough. They do not value me. The reappraisal might be, maybe this means I need to develop a new skill, or maybe this was not the right fit, or maybe the timing will work out better next time. Same event, different story, different brain chemistry. This is not about being fake or pretending everything is fine. It is about recognizing that your first interpretation of events is almost never the full picture. Your amygdala reacts in milliseconds. Your prefrontal cortex needs time to give you the complete story. How do you practice this every day? Get a notebook. At the end of each day, write down one thing that bothered you. Then write the automatic thought you had. Then write 2 alternative interpretations. That is it. Something like this. The event. My friend did not reply to my message all day. The automatic thought. They are ignoring me. They do not care about me. Alternative 1. They might be having a really busy day at work. Alternative 2. Maybe their phone died or they just forgot. Do this for 30 days straight, and you will notice something incredible. Your brain will start generating alternative interpretations automatically, even without the notebook. You are literally training your prefrontal cortex to over the amygdala's first reaction. This is neuroplasticity in action. Step 7 is gratitude. And I know, you have heard this 1,000 times. Be grateful. But let me give you the science behind why it actually works. Because once you understand the mechanism, you will take it seriously. Gratitude shifts the brain's attention from threat detection to reward processing. When you actively think about what you are grateful for, you activate the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, the same region involved in emotional regulation. You are literally exercising the brake pedal of your brain by being thankful. And it does not have to be big things. It can be as simple as, the coffee was good this morning, or my kid laughed really hard at dinner, or the sun felt warm on my face while I walked to the train. Small things. Real things. The brain does not care about the size of the gratitude. It responds to the act of being grateful. Here is the specific practice. Every morning or every night, write down 3 things you are grateful for. They must be specific. Not, I am grateful for my family. Instead, I am grateful my sister called me today just to check on me. The more specific, the more powerful the neural response. Do this for just 2 weeks and watch what happens. You will start noticing good things throughout your day that you used to completely overlook. Your brain is a search engine. Whatever you tell it to look for, it finds. If you tell it to look for problems, it will find problems everywhere. If you tell it to look for blessings, it will find blessings everywhere. That is the beauty of neuroplasticity. You get to choose what your brain gets good at finding. Gratitude literally reprograms your search algorithm. Step 8. People. Human beings are not built to survive alone. Loneliness is not just sad, it is dangerous. Studies have shown that chronic loneliness increases cortisol levels, increases inflammation, weakens the immune system, and raises the risk of heart disease and early death by up to 26%. Your brain has mirror neurons. These are brain cells that fire when you watch someone else do something or feel something. When you are around calm, balanced people, your brain starts to mirror their state. When you are around anxious, negative people constantly, your brain mirrors that. Mental balance is not a solo project. The people around you are part of your brain's environment. Choose them wisely. Spend time with people who lift you up. Have real conversations, not just text messages. Look people in the eyes. Laugh together. That connection is brain medicine. And let me be clear, it is not about having 500 friends on social media. It is about having 2 or 3 people you can actually call at 2 a.m. when everything falls apart. Quality over quantity. Deep over shallow. When you share your emotions with someone you trust, something biological happens. Your cortisol drops. Your oxytocin rises. Oxytocin is called the bonding hormone. It makes you feel safe, connected, and calm. It is the opposite of what cortisol does. If you are someone who tends to keep everything bottled up inside, like pretending you are fine when your heart is breaking, or laughing off problems that are actually eating you alive, or changing the subject every time someone asks how you really are, this step is especially for you. You do not have to share everything with everyone, but share something with someone. Step 9. Protect your inputs. Your brain is constantly processing information. And in the modern world, we are drowning in it. News feeds filled with disasters, social media filled with comparison, notifications every 30 seconds pulling your attention in 100 different directions. Every piece of negative information your brain absorbs triggers a tiny stress response, a small cortisol spike. One spike is nothing, but hundreds of tiny spikes every single day, that is chronic stress. And your brain does not know the difference between a real threat and a scary news headline. Your mental balance depends on what you allow into your mind. If you eat junk food, your body gets sick. If you consume junk information, your mind gets sick. Same principle, different organ. Here are the rules. Number 1, do not check your phone for the first 60 minutes after waking up. Your brain is in a highly suggestible state in the morning. Whatever you feed it first sets the tone for the entire day. Feed it calm, like a stretch, a glass of water, or a quiet walk outside, instead of panic, like news alerts, work emails, or social media arguments. Number 2, turn off non-essential notifications. Only keep notifications for things that are truly urgent. Everything else can wait. Number 3, set specific times to check social media, like 12 p.m. and 6 p.m., instead of scrolling every time you are bored. Number 4, before you go to sleep, give your brain something peaceful. Read a book, listen to calm music, write in your journal. Do not fall asleep watching crime documentaries or scrolling through Twitter arguments. What your brain processes last at night is what it works on while you sleep. Step 10, the final step, and in many ways, the most important. Purpose. Mental balance without direction is just existing. You need something to point your balanced mind toward. Studies in psychology consistently show that people with a strong sense of purpose have lower anxiety, lower depression, better sleep, and even longer lives. Purpose does not have to mean changing the world. It can be as simple as being the best parent you can be, building something you are proud of, or helping people in your community. When you have a purpose, small problems stop looking so big, because you have something bigger to focus on. The brain needs a target. Without one, it turns inward and starts finding problems where there are none. That is when anxiety takes over. Purpose is the antidote. So how do you find your purpose? Ask yourself 3 questions. What activity makes me lose track of time? What problem in the world makes me genuinely angry? And what would I do with my life if money were not a factor? The intersection of those 3 answers is usually where your purpose lives. For some people, it is teaching children. For others, it is building a business that solves a real problem. For others, it is creating art that makes people feel something. There is no wrong answer. And here is something important. Your purpose can change over time. It does not have to be one thing for your whole life. What matters is that you have something right now that pulls you forward. Something that makes getting out of bed feel worth it. So let us bring all 10 steps together. Step 1, breathe, using the 4-7-8 technique. Step 2, lower cortisol through daily meditation. Step 3, sleep 7 to 9 hours with a consistent schedule. Step 4, exercise 30 to 40 minutes at moderate intensity 3 to 4 times per week. Step 5, eat for your gut-brain axis. Step 6, practice cognitive reappraisal to change your thought patterns. Step 7, write 3 specific gratitudes daily. Step 8, invest in deep social connections. Step 9, limit negative information inputs. Step 10, find and pursue a purpose. 10 steps, each one backed by science, each one targeting a different part of the system. Together, they create a complete shield for your mental health. Now, let me give you the daily schedule I promised at the beginning. The morning. Wake up at the same time every day. Do not touch your phone. First thing, do 4 rounds of 4-7-8 breathing. Then, drink a full glass of water. Your brain is 75% water, and it has been dehydrated for 8 hours. Next, spend 10 minutes meditating. Sit in a chair, eyes closed, focus on your breath. After that, write your 3 gratitudes in a journal. Be specific. Then, eat a breakfast that supports your gut, like eggs, avocado, and fermented yogurt. Finally, move. Even 15 minutes of brisk walking to the bus stop, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, or doing jumping jacks in your living room counts. Get your heart rate up. Get the BDNF flowing. Get the serotonin moving. That is how you start a day like a person with a balanced mind. Midday. Set a reminder on your phone for around noon. When it goes off, stop whatever you are doing for 60 seconds. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. Ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? Not how you should feel, how you actually feel. This is called an emotional check-in. Most people go through their entire day without ever pausing to notice their emotional state. They notice too late, like when they have already snapped at a coworker, or when they are crying in the bathroom, or when they have eaten an entire bag of cookies and do not know why. The check-in prevents that. If you notice you are stressed, do another round of 4-7-8 breathing. If you notice you are spiraling into negative thoughts, pull out your notebook and do a quick cognitive reappraisal. Catch the wave before it becomes a tsunami. Afternoon. This is when most people's energy and mood crash. Your cortisol naturally dips around 2 to 3 p.m. This is when cravings for sugar and junk food hit hardest. Do not give in. Instead, eat a snack that supports your brain. Walnuts with a banana, a handful of almonds with dark chocolate, or a small serving of hummus with vegetables. These give your brain steady fuel instead of a sugar spike followed by a crash. And if possible, this is the best time for your exercise session. Afternoon workouts have been shown to align well with natural cortisol patterns and body temperature peaks. But honestly, the best time to exercise is whatever time you will actually do it. Consistency matters more than timing. Evening. This is the wind-down phase. Stop caffeine by 2 p.m., remember? After dinner, put your phone down. Have a real conversation with someone you live with, like asking your partner about the best part of their day, or playing a card game with your kids, or just sitting and talking about nothing in particular with a friend. Connection before screens. 1 hour before bed, begin your digital detox. No screens, no news, no social media. Read a physical book. Listen to calming music. Do some gentle stretching. This tells your brain that the day is ending and it is safe to start producing melatonin. And right before you close your eyes, 4 rounds of 4-7-8 breathing. Then, in your mind, quickly replay 3 good things that happened today. Fall asleep on a positive note. Your brain will process those positive memories while you sleep. Now let us zoom out to the weekly structure. Exercise 3 to 4 times per week. Meditation every single day. Gratitude journal every single day. Social connection at least twice per week. And I mean real connection, not just liking someone's Instagram post. Once per week, do a deeper emotional check-in. Sit down for 20 to 30 minutes and write about how your week went. What triggered you? What did you handle well? What would you do differently? This is self-awareness practice, and it is gold for mental balance. And once per week, do something that feeds your purpose. Whether that is working on a side project after the kids go to bed, volunteering at a local food bank on Saturday morning, or taking an online course in something you are passionate about at the library. Dedicate time to the thing that gives your life direction. Now let me warn you about the 3 most common mistakes people make when trying to build mental balance. Mistake number 1, trying to change everything at once. You read a list like this and you want to start all 10 steps tomorrow. Do not do that. You will burn out in a week. Start with just 1 step. Practice it for 7 days until it becomes easy. Then add another. Then another. In 10 weeks, you will have all 10 steps built into your life without feeling overwhelmed. Think of it like building a wall, 1 brick at a time. Each brick is small. Each brick is simple. But after 10 weeks, you have a wall. Trying to stack all the bricks at once? They just fall over. Patience is part of the practice. Mistake number 2. Expecting to feel balanced all the time. That is not the goal. The goal is not to never feel sad, angry, or scared. Those emotions exist for a reason. They carry information. They tell you something needs attention. Mental balance means you can feel those things without being controlled by them. It is the difference between saying, "I am sad," and saying, "I notice I am feeling sadness right now." The first one, you are the emotion. The second one, you are observing the emotion. That tiny shift in language, it is massive for your brain. There will be bad days. There will be weeks where everything falls apart. That is life. Mental balance is not about avoiding those times. It is about bouncing back from them faster and with less damage. Mistake number 3. Doing this alone and in silence. There is no trophy for suffering quietly. If you are dealing with trauma, clinical depression, severe anxiety, or any mental health condition that is significantly affecting your daily life, these 10 steps are support, not replacement for professional help. A therapist can give you personalized strategies. A psychiatrist can help with medication if needed. These professionals have spent years learning how to help people like you. Asking for help is not weakness. It is one of the strongest things a human being can do. Use this video as your foundation. Use these steps as your daily practice. But if you need more, please reach out to a professional. There is absolutely no shame in it. Your brain is the most complex organ in the universe. Sometimes it needs a specialist. Let me go deeper into something we mentioned earlier: serotonin. A review from Intech Open examining the connection between the gut microbiome and the brain confirmed that serotonin is closely linked to the gut-brain axis and plays a major role in mood, personality, and overall health. Think about what that means. When your serotonin is low, you feel down, irritable, unable to sleep, and you crave sugar and carbohydrates. When serotonin is balanced, you feel calm, focused, happy, and your sleep improves. It is one of the most critical chemicals for mental balance. And remember, most of it is made in the gut. So everything from step 5, eating for your gut-brain axis, is directly tied to your serotonin levels. A 2024 review from Wiley's Food Science and Nutrition confirmed that probiotics can increase serotonin levels in the gut, leading to improvements in mood and immune function. Your food is literally your mood. Now let us talk about the cortisol cycle in more detail. Cortisol follows a natural daily pattern. It is highest in the morning, helping you wake up. It gradually falls throughout the day, and it is lowest at night, allowing you to sleep. When chronic stress disrupts this cycle, cortisol stays elevated at night. That is why stressed people cannot sleep. And when they cannot sleep, cortisol goes even higher the next day. It becomes a vicious cycle. Stress causes bad sleep. Bad sleep causes more stress. More stress causes worse sleep. Every step in this course is designed to break that cycle. Breathing calms the immediate stress response. Meditation lowers baseline cortisol. Sleep resets the cycle. Exercise burns off excess cortisol. Good food supports the chemical balance. This is a system, not just a list of tips. Let us talk more about BDNF because it deserves it. A comprehensive review in Science Direct confirmed that BDNF is vital for neuron survival, synaptic plasticity, and neurogenesis in the adult brain. Without BDNF, your brain cannot build new connections effectively. What lowers BDNF? Chronic stress, poor sleep, bad diet, lack of exercise, isolation. Basically, everything that modern life pushes us toward. Yeah, the way most people live is a recipe for low BDNF. What raises BDNF? Exercise, especially aerobic exercise, quality sleep, meditation, omega-3 fatty acids, social connection, sunlight exposure, learning new skills. In other words, everything in this course. You see how it all connects? Every step feeds into every other step. That is why this works. Let me give you a concept that will change how you see yourself. It is called the amygdala hijack. This is when your amygdala takes over your brain before your prefrontal cortex has time to respond. It happens in milliseconds. You know when someone cuts you off in traffic and you scream before you can even think? Or when your boss gives you unexpected criticism and you feel tears burning in your eyes before you can stop them? Or when you hear a certain song and your chest gets tight because it reminds you of an ex? That is an amygdala hijack. The amygdala acts first and asks questions never. It does not care about context. It does not care about logic. It only cares about keeping you alive. And it treats emotional threats the same as physical threats. That is why rejection can feel like being punched in the stomach. Your brain processes them in the same area. So how do you override a hijack? You cannot prevent it from starting. The amygdala is faster than the prefrontal cortex. But you can shorten the hijack. You can reduce it from controlling you for hours to controlling you for seconds. The key is the pause. The moment you feel a strong emotional surge, pause. Do not react. Do not speak. Do not type that angry message. Just breathe. Even 6 seconds of conscious breathing gives your prefrontal cortex time to come online and take over. This is why every ancient wisdom tradition, from the Stoics to the Buddhists to the samurai, emphasized pausing before reacting. They did not know about the amygdala or the prefrontal cortex, but they understood the principle. React in haste, regret in leisure. The pause is where mental balance lives. Here is something powerful. Stop trying to build mental balance and start trying to become a mentally balanced person. There is a difference. One is a task. The other is an identity. When you see yourself as a mentally balanced person, your decisions start changing automatically. A mentally balanced person does not stay up until 3 a.m. scrolling social media. A mentally balanced person does not eat fast food for every meal. A mentally balanced person does not ignore their emotions until they explode. You do not need to be perfect. You just need to ask yourself one question before every decision. What would a mentally balanced person do right now? And then do that. Over time, the gap between who you are and who you want to be closes. That is identity change, and it is the most lasting form of transformation there is. Let me add a bonus step. Nature. Getting outside into green spaces even for 20 minutes has been shown to significantly lower cortisol levels. The Japanese call it Shinrin-yoku, which means forest bathing. And it is not just a nice idea, it is science. When you are in nature, your brain shifts from the stress-focused default mode network to a more relaxed state. Your breathing naturally slows down. Your heart rate drops. The visual complexity of trees and water gives your prefrontal cortex something calming to process instead of the constant stimulation of screens and cities. You do not need a forest. A walk in a park, sitting under a tree during your lunch break, or even just standing barefoot on grass for 10 minutes. These all count. Nature is free therapy. Use it. Another powerful tool, writing. Not social media posts. Actual writing. Journaling. When you write down your thoughts and feelings by hand, something changes in how your brain processes them. The act of putting words on paper forces your prefrontal cortex to organize chaotic emotions. It is like having tangled headphones in your pocket. Your thoughts are the tangled mess. Writing is the process of slowly pulling each strand apart until everything is clear. The knot does not disappear by ignoring it. It disappears by working through it, one strand at a time. You do not need fancy prompts. Just open a notebook and write, "Right now, I feel," and let whatever comes out, come out. No grammar rules. No one will read it. This is a conversation between you and your mind, and it is one of the most therapeutic things you can do for free. One more tool, cold exposure. Taking a cold shower for 30 to 60 seconds at the end of your regular shower has been shown to increase norepinephrine, a neurotransmitter that improves focus, mood, and alertness. It also trains your nervous system to handle discomfort. And that is really what mental balance is, the ability to handle discomfort without breaking down. Cold water is controlled, safe stress. It teaches your body and brain that stress is not always dangerous. It builds resilience. Start small. Last 15 seconds of your shower, turn it cold. Breathe through it. Each week, add 10 seconds. By the end of a month, you will be standing in cold water for a full minute without flinching. And that confidence will carry over into every other area of your life. If you can handle cold water, you can handle a tough conversation. Let me tell you the most important rule of this entire course. Consistency beats intensity. Every single time. 5 minutes of meditation every day is infinitely better than 1 hour of meditation once a month. The University of Leeds meta-analysis I mentioned earlier found that sustained, consistent practices produced stronger effects on cortisol than short, intense bursts. Your brain adapts to what you do regularly. It does not adapt to what you do occasionally. So do not try to be perfect. Try to be consistent. Missed your meditation today? Do it tomorrow. Ate junk food for lunch? Eat better at dinner. Skipped your exercise? Walk for 10 minutes tonight. Every moment is a chance to get back on track. Mental balance is not about never falling. It is about getting back up quickly. Here's what most people do not understand about these steps. They compound, like interest in a bank account. After 1 week, you will feel a small difference. After 1 month, a noticeable difference. After 3 months, other people will start asking you what you are doing differently. That is not hype. That is neuroplasticity. Every day you practice these steps, you are making the positive neural pathways stronger and the negative ones weaker. The longer you do it, the easier it gets. The easier it gets, the more you do it. Positive spiral instead of negative spiral. The person who started this video stressed, anxious, and overwhelmed can become someone who handles life with calm confidence and emotional strength in just 90 days. But only if they start. Not tomorrow, not Monday, today. Now, let us talk about setbacks, because they will happen. You will have a week where everything falls apart. You stop meditating, you eat badly, you do not sleep. You snap at the people you love. And then the guilt hits, and you think, what is the point? I cannot do this. That voice? That is not you. That is your amygdala. It is catastrophizing. It is doing what it does, making things seem worse than they are. Remember the Penn State study from the beginning? 97% of worries are exaggerated or false. 1 bad week does not erase weeks of progress. Your neural pathways do not disappear overnight. They weaken slightly, yes, but they are still there. Just pick up where you left off. No drama, no self-punishment, just begin again. That is what balanced people do. They begin again. Here is a skill most people never develop: emotional vocabulary. Most people only have about 5 words for how they feel: happy, sad, angry, scared, tired. But there are hundreds of emotional states, and being able to name them precisely actually helps your brain regulate them. It is the difference between saying, I feel bad, and saying, I feel disappointed because I expected something different. Or saying, I feel overwhelmed because there are too many tasks and not enough time. Or saying, I feel lonely because I have not had a meaningful conversation in weeks. The more precise the label, the more control you have. Neuroscience calls this affect labeling. When you name an emotion accurately, activity in the amygdala decreases and activity in the prefrontal cortex increases, just by naming the feeling. Words have literal power over your brain chemistry. Mental balance also requires boundaries. You cannot be mentally balanced while saying yes to everything and everyone. Every yes to someone else that goes against your own needs is a small withdrawal from your mental health bank account. Boundaries are not selfish. They are essential. Things like telling a friend, I cannot talk right now, but I will call you tomorrow. Or telling your boss, I need the weekend to recharge and I will tackle this first thing Monday. Or telling a family member, I love you, but I do not want to discuss this topic. These are not acts of war. They are acts of self-preservation. People who struggle with boundaries often have an overactive amygdala. They fear rejection, they fear conflict, so they absorb everyone else's problems and ignore their own. This is a fast track to burnout and emotional collapse. Protect your energy like you protect your money. This one is hard, but it needs to be said. Forgiveness. Not for the other person, for you. Carrying resentment, anger, and grudges keeps your cortisol chronically elevated. It keeps your amygdala on high alert. It is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to get sick. Forgiveness does not mean what happened was okay. It does not mean you have to let that person back into your life. It means you are choosing to stop letting what they did control your present emotional state. You are cutting the chain between their past action and your current suffering. This is perhaps the hardest step on this entire list, and it does not happen overnight. It is a process. But every time you choose to release a little bit of that anger, you are freeing up mental energy for something better. Balance cannot exist where resentment lives. They occupy the same space. Mental balance and mental toughness are two sides of the same coin. Toughness is not about being hard or emotionless. It is about being flexible, like a tree in a storm. The rigid trees break. The flexible ones bend and survive. Every challenge you face and work through strengthens your mental toughness. Every time you sit with discomfort instead of running from it, like finishing a hard workout when your body wants to quit, or staying calm when someone is yelling at you, or continuing to work on your goal when nobody believes in you, you are building the neural pathways of resilience. That is why controlled challenges, like cold showers, hard exercise, and meditation, where you sit with boredom, matter so much. They train your brain to handle difficulty before the real difficulties arrive. Preparation, not reaction. That is the mentally balanced way. What is beautiful about mental balance is that both Eastern and Western traditions arrived at the same conclusions through different paths. Western science says, strengthen the prefrontal cortex. Eastern philosophy says, cultivate mindful awareness. Same destination, different maps. The Stoics of ancient Greece taught that you cannot control events, only your response. That is cognitive reappraisal. The Buddhists taught that suffering comes from attachment to impermanent things. That is emotional regulation. The yogis taught that breath controls the mind. That is vagus nerve stimulation. Thousands of years of human wisdom confirmed by modern neuroscience. These are not trends. These are truths about how the human mind works. And now you have them all, in one place, in one video. After 90 days of consistent practice, something shifts. These steps stop being things you do and start being things you are. Breathing deeply becomes automatic. Noticing your thoughts becomes natural. Choosing better food becomes easy. Moving your body becomes enjoyable. That is the tipping point. That is when mental balance stops being work and starts being your default state. You are not fighting to stay balanced anymore. You are just balanced. And people around you will feel it. They will feel calmer around you. They will trust you more. They will come to you for advice, because balanced energy is magnetic. In a world full of chaos, a calm mind stands out like a lighthouse in a storm. And that is what you are building. And here is the final truth I want to leave you with. Mental balance does not just change you. It changes everyone around you. When you are balanced, you are a better parent, a better partner, a better friend, a better leader, a better human. Your children learn emotional regulation by watching you. Your partner feels safer because your nervous system is calm. Your colleagues perform better because your energy is stable. You become a source of peace in a world that desperately needs it. This is not just self-improvement. This is a responsibility. Because the opposite is also true. When you are out of balance, your chaos spreads to everyone who depends on you. Your stress becomes their stress. Your anger becomes their pain. The ripple goes both ways. So here is my challenge to you. Start today. Pick one step from this course, just one, the one that felt the most urgent to you while you were watching. Maybe it is breathing. Maybe it is sleep. Maybe it is cutting junk food. Maybe it is calling a friend you have not talked to in months. Do that one step every day for 7 days. Then come back to this video and pick a second step, 7 more days. Keep building, week by week, brick by brick, until all 10 steps are part of your daily life. And do me a favor, if this video helped you even a little bit, share it with someone who needs it. You probably already have someone in mind right now. Send it to them. Mental balance should not be a secret. It should be standard education for every human being on this planet. You clicked on this video for a reason. Something inside you knows that the way you have been living is not sustainable. The anxiety, the overthinking, the emotional roller coaster, the exhaustion, you know there is a better way. And now you have the map. Your brain is not broken. It just never got the instruction manual. Well, this is the instruction manual. Every study I shared, every step I outlined, every technique I gave you, it all points to one truth. You are not stuck. You are not weak. You are not your worst thoughts. You are a human being with a remarkable brain that can be trained to serve you instead of sabotage you. Mental balance is not a destination. It is a practice. It is something you choose every single morning when you open your eyes. And starting today, you have everything you need to make that choice. Now go, build the mind you deserve. I believe in you.